Welcome back to the Spotlight Games podcast for episode 195. I'm your host, Patrick. Dropping in alongside me, as he always does, the dumpster boy, Cayman Darty. Cayman, how we doing?
Patrick, I'm doing great. Patrick, before the show started, our for a good friend, French Dip,
Yeah.
he messaged me. He said, dumpster boy, I need a blurb for you.
Yeah.
I need a blurb for you for a question that we're going to be putting up so that people can kind of get to know you guys on the website. I'm going to spoil this for people because I feel like this is good content. um, so I'm like, okay, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? And he's like, just something that's on brand for you. Like, what is like a game that you're excited about that is on brand for you? And I said, you know what? Here's my review or my little blurb. My game is everything is crab, and my blurb is remember that game Spore? Yeah, this isn't that game. It's a crab. Everything is crab. Patrick, do you know about this game? Everything is crab.
I've never heard of this game a single time in my life until right now.
Okay. Here's the thing, Patrick. Let me tell you. Everything is crab is Spore meets like Vampire Survivor.
Okay.
Also maybe eugenics. I'm not quite certain. Either way, your your goal is just to evolve into a crab.
Okay.
Everything's slowly evolving into a crab, anyways. Is the theory. We're now at a place where our video games are also evolving into crabs too. I'm
Evolving
very excited
into
about this game. I
crabs.
think that this game is going to be a sleeper hit. I'm genuinely excited about this game.
You know, a game is really set up for success when it's not evolving into crab. It's everything is. I was gonna say when I put the name
Everything is.
into YouTube and it just brings up a scientific video, but that was my fault because I spelled it incorrectly. I pulled over to the B-roll. This is what this game looks like.
Mhm.
So I see it's a roguelite. I see the
Sure.
Vampire Survivor call out for sure, just based on
Right.
the general vibe. Uh, you make me sick, Cayman. I want you to know that. You make me sick
Why? Why? Why do I make you sick, Patrick? Tell the people at home why I make you sick, Patrick.
because
Nothing?
as the French dip reaches out for this very sweet, cool opportunity, you just do something fucking stupid with it.
I'm sorry. Excuse me.
Uh-huh.
I
Uh-huh.
don't think you understand that this game is going to get stupidly good reviews.
Maybe.
It's like it is a I've looked okay, here's the thing. Go on right now on Steam,
Yeah.
you can play the demo.
Okay.
They posted a demo for Steam's Next Fest or something. So there's a demo out about this game. Go sink an hour into it and you will know exactly why.
Okay.
It has that like addictive gameplay loop like
Sure.
a survivor game. In that the roguelite element of just being like, I'm going
One
to
more time.
continue to
One more time.
one more time.
Yeah.
This game's gonna fucking slap. So
I wonder if
get ready for it.
I wonder if it'll get the buzz it needed to break through, as you know, so many indie games exist these days. A show like this where we cover the latest and the greatest in the world of video games.
Mhm.
Um, but
I think it will.
I believe you've converted me. So
And when that game comes out and it gets better fucking reviews than Mixtape, you're gonna suck my balls live on air.
I,
Gargle
I
them.
was gonna say it wouldn't be the first time, but live on air it would be.
Would you
Well,
think
Cayman,
my misophonia would not like that sound?
I believe the way I do it, your misophonia will not like that sound. Cayman, while I go through the intro, maybe click around one more time. I'm starting to get that lag again from you and a little. It might just be
Damn
something
it.
that we live with tonight. It's not a huge deal. It's not as bad as it was in the pre-show. But this is the Spotlight Games
Okay.
podcast where each week we spotlight the latest and the greatest in the world of video games. You can get it by subscribing to our YouTube channel at Spotlight GameSpot or by searching for Spotlight Games in your favorite podcast app. And hey, you can be on the show by tuning in as we record live Tuesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern Time right here on twitch.tv/Spotlight GameSpot. So be sure to follow us there so that you're notified when we go live, just like Rabbit128, who gifted a sub, or not gifted a sub, he gave a sub. No, fuck. He subscribed. That's the verb I'm looking for. 19 months says, well, rip your shirts off and show some toes. The boys are back in town. I would rip my shirt off if I wasn't wearing corded headphones, so you can blame it on technology. Also, shout out Noah in the chat, Sears in the chat, Coal Mines in the chat, a 2-monther, Jake Twitchin, be like them. Follow us so that you're notified when we go live so you can be part of the conversation. Some quick housekeeping for you this week. Resident Evil 9 content abound. We're posting a bunch of shorts from my
Mm.
stream last Friday. I did another stream on Sunday. I'm finding time for another stream this week at some point. I've decided, even though I will regret it at some point, that I'm playing that whole game on stream. So no scheduled day yet this week, but it's gonna happen at some point. And in the meantime, our friends over the JK Games podcast last night had their first episode of their impressions for the first couple hours of Resident Evil Requiem, which is very exciting. They had Matt Exposure on, who reviewed the game for Kind of Funny. So Resident Evil Requiem is just flowing through the veins right now. And also, if you missed it, JK Games, their video game book club has been renamed to One More Game. And I don't know if they said this publicly, but that idea might have come from somebody on this podcast that isn't me, which means it's Cayman. Um,
Ev- Every once in a while, I have a good idea.
Every once in a while, he has a great idea. Also, Kayla, speaking of JK Games, she's going to be streaming the Legends of Komori, or the Legend of Komori. It's a Hidalgo, like it's a horse game in the desert. She's going to be streaming that on JK Games, and I think also on Dido. I think it might be a co-stream situation, but that's going to be tomorrow night. And then Thursday night, myself, Og, Jericho. We're going to be talking about Pokopia, Planet of Lana, and Slay the Spire too, because I didn't realize that early access drops on fucking Thursday, and I am throbbing. Came in for some Slay the Spire 2 early access. I can't fucking wait. So hope to see you Thursday night over on twitch.tv/drop in drop out pod for another week of new release discuss. But Cayman, we're here to talk about Spotlight Games, to spotlight the latest and the greatest in the world of video games. And if you aren't around here often, we always start our games here, our podcasts rather, with talking about the games we're playing. So Cayman, I kick to you. What have you been playing recently? Please talk.
Well, I kind of let the cat out of the bag, or maybe I let the crab out of the bag. See what I did there? See what I did there? I'm in regards to that, I'm not gonna talk anymore about that. Like, all I'll say is really, like, go play the demo.
Sure.
Like, I promise you that you will love this game. It's incredibly addictive. What I want to do is talk less highly of something.
Oh no. He's mad,
Patrick,
folks.
I'm so fucking mad.
Oh no.
I just put 80 hours into Dragon Quest 7.
I don't like where this is
Okay?
headed.
Here's the thing. I am missing one trophy and I will never get it. What is that trophy? It's called Item Hoarder,
Okay.
where you have to collect every item in the game. Here's the thing. Not a big deal. Not a big deal. Okay? Collect every item in the game. Whatever.
Easy.
We can do that.
Whatever.
That's not hard. What's hard is that when you put multiple exclusive items behind a mini game that is a memory match, where you have to memorize a board of cards and figure out where they are on the board, and then you have to use tips and tricks. I took 425 photos
Oh no.
so that I didn't have to like actually memorize anything. 425 photos over the course of over 5 hours.
Oh boy.
I'm still missing 9 items because the RNG and the drop rate is at like in the hundredths of a percentage point to get some of these items. I read it and some people were like, I'm on hour 15 and I'm still missing 3 items. And I just decided at that point that I did not like that mini game enough to be able to mindlessly do it. If it was just like I'm mindlessly clicking a single button and battling, because I had to do that for an item that was like has a small drop rate, where I just had to auto battle a singular enemy like 52 times,
Yeah.
something crazy like that. And it took like an hour and I got it and was like, cool, now I'm moving on. No, I'm not moving on. I'm not doing it anymore.
Yeah.
Dragon Quest 7, you fucking ruined me. Like,
Yeah.
I'm so
That
beyond just
sucks, dude.
upset. So I here's the thing. That was supposed to be my 150th platinum. It was supposed to be a platinum that I got and then came on to Spotlight and did a big platinum review and been all giddy and shit. Now instead, I have to go do fucking hidden cats in the Rio de Janeiro for my
Oh,
150th
grow
platinum.
up. You're
And
so
while that's probably
excited.
more on brand, Patrick. It sucks the air out of the room when you tell someone that your 150th platinum wasn't 100 hour, no, it's not 100 hour, like a very long
Yeah.
JRPG. That's like my 100th platinum was Dragon Quest 11,
Yeah.
you know?
They fucked you.
So
Noah in the
maybe
chat
this is gonna
was
sit there for 50 more platinum.
he said, use the rabbit tail, which we went down that path. Turns out that's only for in battle. That's not for mini game,
Right.
apparently, which is a fucking shame.
Every single Correct. Every single one of my characters actually has the every single one of my characters actually has the rabbit tail attached to them in their equipment slots.
Yeah.
So like I even have it set up on the off chance that it may work, but no. No.
What a like,
No.
I feel
It's
like
no.
a game like that where it requires you to do so much to achieve something like 100% of the game. Having
Right.
that, because you said it was all of the items that are left, you said all of them are locked behind this game. They're like none of them are out in the wild.
Every single one.
It's like, what's the point?
Every
Like,
single
that's
one
not
is
even
locked behind an exclusive.
fun, right? Like, Rabbit in the chat says game requires so much for so little. It's like
Right.
the ROI there, not on the
Well,
charts at all.
here's the thing. Here's the thing. Once you do the Rampage Road, then like you unlock all of the best equipment in the game. So
Mm,
the items that are locked behind aren't even items that like are helpful to me at this point.
yeah,
Like they're like significantly less helpful than anything that I currently have. And my build is so I have such like a solid build
yeah,
as well that like why would I do that? Why would I do that, Patrick?
yeah. That
I don't need a metal boomerang, a metal slime goomerang, excuse me. I
yeah,
don't
Noah.
need one of those, Patrick.
I mean, a Goomerang does
I
sound
got
pretty good
6
though.
of them now, actually. I don't know, that's pretty
Let
pretty
me
cool.
ask you this
That's
really
pretty cool.
fast, Cayman. On the computer right now, do you
Yeah,
have us full screen for you?
I do.
Will you try to not have it not be full screen? Because you're still the internet is just not playing ball with you tonight, and I'm wondering if maybe
What is
if that
going
would help.
on?
It's again, it's not
Okay.
horrible, but it is noticeable enough that there are some times that we're tripping over each other because of the delay. And I don't.
Right, right,
I'm
right.
trying to give Noah, Rabbit, Cirrus, Coal Mines, not Jake though. I'm trying to give them the best possible viewing experience. And the truth is,
Mhm.
the best possible viewing experience is anytime the Dumpster Boys here. But
Thank you.
I don't want to take that from them.
No, 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 that's such a bummer my internet's not playing nice today. It's been fine all day.
Yeah,
Oh, I see now.
yeah,
It is definitely I have, like, a very poor ping rate right now in Discord.
yeah. Fucking Discord. I tried to have us do a different platform tonight, but it fucked me. So, oh well. Well, we're gonna make it work. I'm gonna talk a little bit about what I've been playing, and then
We'll
if
make
you
it
have
work.
anything else, then I'll kick it back to you. But I mean, most of the people that are here have seen me or been privy to me playing Resident Evil Requiem, so they already know that that's like a fucking game of the year contender for me. I'm having such a good time playing. And
Right.
honestly, I can't wait for you to play because I think you're gonna really fuck with this game. Um, But yeah, I'm struggling not playing it off stream because I'm having so much fun doing it. Especially those first 2
Mhm,
hours was very, very fun. Um, but I want to talk a little bit about a game that is brand new, released.
mhm.
Let's see exactly when it released. Um, Released in the year 2004. Came but was re-released on the Switch last week. That's Pokemon Leaf Green. Playing a lot of Leaf Green right now. Did you ever play the Leaf Green or Fire Red back in the day on the Game Boy Advance or the SP? Was that a game you had?
Oh, yeah. I played, Fire Red.
Nice. Skipped this one back in the day. I just never. I dabbled with the original
Mhm.
Blue on the Game Boy Color, and then the next Pokemon I played would have been like Snap, Stadium. Like I didn't play any of the mainline Pokemons for a very, very long time. Um, So I've been having a good time. I don't know that I'm gonna finish it because also in 2 days we get Pokopia and we get Slay the Spire, and I'm still playing Resident Evil. But I'm having a very good time with it. And at 19.99, a steal, some would say. Even though this is just gonna be the beginning of Nintendo charging us more for these kinds of games again.
Right.
Um, but I'm having a good time, and this Pokemon franchise, I think it might have legs, Cayman.
Hmm. You say.
That's my official
You say.
prediction, is that I think Pokemon's gonna have legs, pretty big legs.
I think they have another 30 years left in them.
I'd say at least they have another 30 years in them, probably. And the 60 year, when we're live reacting from the old folks' home on the sand dunes, because the water wars have been raging for 25 years, we will live react to the
Right.
60th anniversary live stream, which is just directly into our brains from the internet. Um, Noah says, get the squad over to TeamSpeak before Discord requires a state ID and a butthole scan for unique identification. I don't know much about TeamSpeak. I would like to learn more after the podcast. Um, Sear says, I remember a friend showing me the game card and me going, so it's like a knockoff? Why not just green? Why leaf green? And that person said, well, you see, my uncle works at Nintendo, I'm sure, on the playground. Um, Hey man, have you been playing anything else? I've just kind of only been playing those two games. I did start Reanimal, and I
Yeah.
do plan on playing more Reanimal, but I just keep getting distracted with other things. And so that I think the Reanimal is going to be like a summer game that I circle back to at some point.
No.
Yeah.
Thankfully not playing anything. This game, Dragon Quest 7 ruined my
That
life.
really sounds like it put a fucking damper on your whole situation.
Yeah.
Rabbit asks, and I
So,
know I'm walking
not
into
sure
a
when I'll
trap
play a
here.
video game again.
Rabbit says, are you all
Mm.
going over to SawCon? And he's gonna say sock on D's nuts, I'm sure. But he can at
God
least
damn it.
he can at least clip out and just cut the part where I saw what he was saying coming. Sear said he was the only Asian kid in my town growing up. I would have believed him if he said it. My uncle, Steve's son, who works at Nintendo. Um, Cayman, we have start jumping into the news, to start dipping our little toesies into the
Mhm.
news. We have some bad news to start, and we have some unfortunate news to get to after that. And then but we maybe have some good news at some point, but it is mostly bad news this week on Spotlight Games. But hey, that's showbiz, baby. The first story I'm pulling from GameSpot, Eddie Makucha at GameSpot. I don't know if that's how you pronounce his name, but that's how I'm trying. Highguard shutting down very soon. It's the end of the road for the free-to-play shooter. Highguard will officially go offline on March 12th. That is 9 days from now, if I can math. I think I can. Developer Wildlight has announced this was the expected result, given that player numbers had fallen dramatically and the game was being supported only by a skeleton crew following mass layoffs at the company. I thought it was interesting that um, to break away from the article for a second. I thought it was interesting that Eddie at GameSpot didn't clarify that the reason that they followed mass layoffs is because Tencent just pulled their funding, which I guess they pulled it
Mhm.
because they expected that they weren't going to make their money back. But continuing in the article, more than 2 million people played Highguard, the studio said, and many believed in what we were building. They are deeply grateful for the fans, but admitted we have not been able to build a sustainable player base to support the game long term. Highguard will remain playable until March 12th, and Wildlight said it hopes people will come back. Well, one more time to show your support and get those final great matches in while we still can. It feels like almost exactly a year ago. I don't remember the date off the top of my head, but it feels like almost exactly a year ago um, that we were having this exact conversation about Concord,
Mhm.
which is like Noah is in fact in the chat or in the Discord earlier was like, this is just yet another example of like these developers, all this time they spent, and they will have fuck all to show for it because the game is just gonna be pulled and it won't be able to be played anymore. It's like it fucking sucks, man. It's so disappointing.
I think this is a good example of like what's happening, I think, with video games. Like across the board. It reminds me of like back in the early days of motion picture film where they would like burn sets to the ground so that people couldn't like reuse things. Um And I think it's one of those incredibly frustrating situations where every studio, to some degree, outside of just like indie studios, are really following this pattern where it's like, we're going to put $200 million to this thing. And like, if it doesn't hit, then we lose everything. It's like they're gambling with millions upon millions of dollars. And it's just a wild and incredibly frustrating situation because I also look over and I'm like, you know what some of the most talked about games are over the last couple of years? People are going nuts in preparation for Going Under.
Yeah.
I had a top one of my top 10 games of the year was Peak, and one of the best Souls-like games to come out in the last couple of years, it was Aggro Crab, Another Crab's Treasure, all by the exact same developer, and all released within like 12 months of each other. So like, or I guess Going Under's not released yet, but all of this will be released within like every 6 months they're dropping something new
Right.
essentially. And it's like indie studios are the only thing that's keeping this industry afloat because so many studios are just being like, well, either we got to make a $200 million game and we just got to hope that it makes us twice as much back, or we're not going to make another game again,
Yeah.
you know? So it is incredibly frustrating, but it's also very indicative of just how things are going right now.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think that that's where we as it honestly more probably more so is just a micro scale outlook of like what in stage capitalism is.
Sure.
Where it's just like if you can't make $1 billion, you don't exist anymore. Patrick, how is my internet doing now?
You're still lagging a bit, but you haven't like
Okay.
skipped in a minute like that. So what would happen is you would be like, and so that
Hmm.
hasn't happened, but you are still like a little bit behind. But we're
Okay.
it's okay at the moment. I do want to ask you a question though before we report on
Yeah.
some breaking news that Noah shared in the chat.
Breaking news.
Yeah. But I thought about this a little bit earlier, and I can't help but wonder. It's like, how useful or how helpful is this, or like valuable rather. But I've been very curious thinking about this today, and I'm interested on your take. Do you think this game ever had a chance, comma, do you think Healy kind of forcing their hand and be like, I really want to announce this at the Game Awards, has any sort of a direct correlation to how this game did not find its player base because of that, like 3 months or whatever, or maybe it wasn't 3 months, it was several weeks where the game had no marketing and people were like, what the fuck? Where is Highguard? Because it was never the plan. It was always going to be a shadow drop. Do you think there might be a correlation there of like their original launch plan, them pulling this lever to be like, all right, let's just do something totally different. Let's do this thing we have not planned for because this opportunity has presented itself, which then got a lot of people pissed leading up to the launch of Highguard. Do you think that those things could be aligned at all? Or do you think I'm just making a mountain out of a molehill?
So no, I think that you're definitely onto something. I think that the hero shooter genre is a dying breed. Like, I don't think those games are gonna be successful for much longer if they're
Yeah,
even successful right now. Like, even Overwatch is struggling to figure out what it is anymore. So I don't think that that genre of game is gonna be nearly as popular. So I do think that that definitely plays to it, but I also think that it definitely hurt its odds because I think people saw and they were like, "Oh, at the Game Awards, fucking Kaylee gave us this big the one more thing, and it's some game no one fucking cares about." And so I think that that definitely soured a lot of people who may have just been like, "Oh, I would have given it a shot at least."
sure.
Like, hell, I might have gotten into it if it was like if I didn't see it before.
Noah in the chat says this, and this is someone who fucking hates Jeff Keighley. So uh I do believe him when he says this game had a chance. It's not fair to lay blame on Keighley. It's fair to lay blame on the game's design shortcomings, which did exist. But this is largely on the backs of the ridiculous amount of instant rejection people had for it for no fucking reason. And then he goes on to say, which is something that I forgot about, Overwatch totally like reinvented itself out of the blue, and Overwatch is seeing its highest concurrent player counts ever right now. So
Really?
they're like rebranding, I think, really like rebranding Overwatch 2 to just Overwatch, I think that is actually probably one of the biggest reasons why Highguard ended up failing, is that
Hmm,
all of a sudden, I mean, a bunch of streamers in our sphere have been streaming Overwatch lately, which is a game that I've not seen anybody that I know stream in like 3 years. So that
fair.
that that is compelling. Actually, I didn't think about it from the Overwatch standpoint. But I don't know. I kept thinking through like if a company's go-to-market strategy is shadow drop, and then all of a sudden, with like a month's notice, they pivot to do this totally different go-to-market strategy. I feel like it's not a total reach to say that those things could be correlated. And not to say that it's like Jeff Keighley's fault, just that like the circumstances around it, like you were saying, like it gave people an opportunity to judge the game well before
Right.
they could have if it were just shadow dropped. So it's like, yeah, I don't know. It's interesting to me to think, and it's like, again, what value is this to think out loud? But if the game was just shadow dropped in January, first time gamers had ever seen it, all of a sudden, every news headline is creators of whatever the fuck. I can't think of the name of the other really big game that they made. Uh Apex. Apex developers launch new hero shooter. And like, I don't know. It's an interesting like alternate reality thought experiment to wonder if that game could have potentially landed in another universe. But
No, I think that you're really onto something there. I do think that that's a really valid point, though, and I think the industry sucks. And I think that sometimes I also don't think that we necessarily function very well. Not everything needs to have the same marketing strategy either. Um, but yeah, I think it was just a bungled opportunity,
yeah,
but also I think it was just bad timing, bungled opportunity, also probably maybe some gameplay elements that didn't click either. Just a mixed bag of shit,
sure.
essentially.
To round this out, I'm gonna read a couple chats. Cayman, do me a favor, drop from the call for just a second and see if that gets your
Okay.
audio back aligned. Um, Sear says, I watched that Game Awards trailer and felt like I was reminded of 20 forgettable games I've never bothered to play, which is fair. And then Noah, the decision to shadow drop could have worked. I understand why they took the spot they had offered to them at the Game Awards. Once the cat was out of the bag, though, they should have been on top of pre-release comms and marketing. Sticking with the go dark strategy in the face of backlash was strictly incorrect, which I definitely agree on. And then another good point: look at Marathon's really bad reception a year ago, and then Marathon's reception in the last 96 hours. People are fucking jacked on Marathon. So that's a good point of like they righted the ship. They figured out a better marketing strategy, and people are now excited about that game. And I think that game will be
Really?
successful. I do. Yeah. I think,
Really?
yeah, for sure. I think this server slam has done that. I haven't seen a single bit of bad press from the server slam. I had negative things to say, but I'm fully aware that that is my own baggage. Like my baby's first extraction shooter. I don't love a multiplayer only experience. So I had a fucking bad time. Um, But talking with Jerica and Jake and reading about like Noah's experience and a bunch of people's experiences in the chat
Mhm.
or in the Discord rather, it seems like Marathon is going to, the first couple months I think will be very important, but the tune has certainly changed on Marathon
Hmm.
compared to a year
Okay.
ago, it seems. Um,
Interesting.
yeah, also it seems like the audio is fixed. You're no longer like a second behind on the video, which is
So
good.
I hope you guys are ready for why I think my internet was shitty.
Uh-oh.
I think my wife was sapping it all up because she's trying to download Death Stranding. Fucking Kojima ruining my life once again.
That's so
Like, message
fucking
her, I was
funny.
like, "Hey, you're not doing anything crazy up there that would be just, like, sucking back the internet, right?" She's like, "Do you think downloading that game is something?" I was like, "Yeah, yes, it absolutely fucking is. It is fucking sucking it down." I know
Sierra
rabbits
says,
in the
let her
chat right
continue,
now.
please, which I don't disagree. Okay, we're gonna do something that we've not done on Spotlight potentially ever, because news like rarely ever breaks during an 8 p.m. recording time. But
Mhm.
we have a story from Reuters that Noah dropped in the chat from 41 minutes ago. Trump administration debates whether to let Tencent keep its gaming states, the Financial Times reports. This is a writer whose name I don't see, but it's from Reuters. Steve Reuters writes, the White House is debating whether to allow Tencent to keep its stakes in major video game groups as U.S. President Fuckface McGee prepares to meet Chinese President Xi Jinping in China in April, the Financial Times reported on Tuesday. Reuters could not immediately verify the report. This would, I mean, this is like fucking ET levels of this industry falls to its fucking knees if Tencent is forced out of gaming with how many things that they are fucking, they have their money in to fund. I mean, the reason that Highguard just died is because Tencent pulled their funding. And they're the
Right.
ones that they were like, and so they had to lay off like 75 people or something because they couldn't pay him anymore. Um, bro, this is fucking crazy if that's true.
Well, I mean, like, I'm trying to think like what it would even like
I'm gonna
the
just
amount
really
of
quickly
games
Google
that would
Tencent.
be
Yeah,
the amount of games I think that would end up being canceled because of this would have disastrous effects across the industry.
yeah,
Because it's not just games that are being canceled, like that's also developers being laid off, full studios
just
closing.
full studios closing.
And it would just be like left and right. I think here's the thing that I have this like conundrum with is that Donald Trump is a fucking idiot.
Correct.
And like the fact that people want to continue to be like, he's such a great businessman. Like, I no, like, no, he's not.
Correct.
Like, if he just left the money that he inherited, if he just let it, like, just put it
Oh
in
my
an
god, dude.
IRA,
There,
he would
so
be worth so much more than he is now because of how bad his business decisions are.
correct. Riot Games, 100% owned by Tencent. That so League of Legends dead.
Dead.
Epic Games, 40% of Epic
Dead.
Games, the creators of Fortnite and so many other things, fucking dead.
No, I don't think Epic would die.
They
I think
wouldn't die,
Epic
but it
would,
would be bad.
it would be fucking wild to see what
Yeah.
happens there.
Larian Studios, 30%. I didn't realize Tencent had a 30% stake in
Damn.
Larian. FromSoft,
Larian probably
16%.
would get picked up.
Sure.
FromSoft would be fine, but like
Crafton,
games would be canceled.
oh, for sure. Yeah,
Crafton's
for sure.
dead. 100%
Well,
Crafton's dead.
14% for Crafton, but that's
Still
probably
would be
enough
dead.
to cripple Crafton. 11%
Right.
of Ubisoft also probably Ubisoft is like on death's door
Crippling.
already.
Right.
5% in Blizzard, 80%. And also this is a article from 2024. So some of this might be out of date. I was just having a really hard time finding like updated what is Tencent owning right now. So this is most likely a little
Probably
bit out
more.
of date. But yeah, I mean, in some cases, probably maybe it's like 16% of Ubisoft now or something. You know, I'm just making that up off the top of my
I
head.
mean,
But
here's the thing, and I think that like
man,
when we say numbers like that, where you're like, only 11% of Ubisoft is owned. That 11% is such a large number that people don't realize how big of a number that actually is. Like, for instance, I won't say that the company I work for, but the company I work for when that AI article dropped, the like essentially stating like this is what the future is going to look like based on all of these like
yeah,
simulations we've run. Um my company lost 7% of their stock or market value. Lost 7%. To put that into perspective, 7% of my company is $18 billion. So, like, we're not talking like chump change over here. And the difference with like a studio, like studios in the US compared to like a studio in Japan is like when these studios or developers do poorly, it's not like we're not going to lay people off. We're going to cut bonuses. We're going to cut corners. We're going to do these things. Like, I forgot who is the guy, like one of the people who's like one of the chairmen of Sega after like the Dreamcast happened. He like had to like put a portion of his will was that in on him when he died, he gave a portion of his worth went to Sega of like millions of dollars. Some
yeah.
crazy story. But like in the US, all of these studios just end. They
It's like
just
the
end.
amount of the economic absolute destruction this would cause in this country. Like the amount of Yeah, as you said, jobs, the amount of just like money that is just immediately out of our economy is like obviously he's done so much fuck shit since he was elected, whether he was fairly elected or not. That's up for other people to decide. But it's like it just every fucking day it turns around and there's just more bullshit being done that cripples this country. And this would be the fucking next level. And the thing that drives me so fucking crazy about it is that video games are like niche enough that this wouldn't get the proper type of coverage from like a Fox News. Like they would have no understanding about how important Tencent would be to this country because they just assume, oh, it's Chinese, so it's evil. But okay,
Right.
Noah says it's League, Clash Royale, Clash of Clans, Epic, Activision Blizzard, Ubisoft, Timmy, Larian, Digital Extremes, which has Warframe, PUBG, Funcom, which is an MMO publisher, Supercell, Don't Nod, Miniclip, Bloober Team, FromSoft, Crafton, and Remedy. I forgot about the Remedy stake. That is fucking unreal how bad that would be. Oy
Patrick,
vey. Oh,
I don't want to be an alarmist,
yeah, 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 yeah.
but dude, I think we're fucked.
Here's yeah, I mean, I guess the one this isn't a silver lining. Really. This is like a what's a really bad metal? This is like a rusty lining. Um, there are so many video games that have been released in the last like 7 years that uh I guess we'll have games to play for a long time. But oh, I know I mentioned this earlier and it didn't click for me. This is because of his fucking son-in-law. That's totally right. It's so that Kushner and the Saudi group can come in and just oh my god. I want to scream, dude.
It's just blatant corruption on a level and scale that I don't think anyone can properly process.
Yeah.
Like, this isn't like Enron where it's like, "Oh, yeah, like, what that was hard for people to process." Like, this is some level where it's just like, it's so supervillain,
Yeah.
so, like, Lex Luthor-esque of just
Yeah, for
you
sure.
can't believe it's real. You cannot believe it's real.
Yeah. No, but that's exactly what happened. Kushner fucking scheduled 15 minutes with daddy and was like, "Hey, I'm hearing that this Tencent company is a problem for me now that I'm in video games all of a sudden. What can you do to fucking cripple these people's value so that I can come in at a 30% markdown to buy a third of the gaming industry?" Why can't we have nice things, Cayman?
Because billionaires exist.
Yeah, clip that. Excuse me. Tencent is also big enough that they own 20% of Universal Music Group. Wow. They have so much money.
I have a feeling they're like,
Tencent.
"We don't care about that part, just the video games part." That's how you
Tencent,
know the fucking racket is real.
are you interested in buying a stake of Dropout? Tencent, pay me, please. Um, well, that's crazy. I'm sure that's going to be all over headlines over the next week. But you can say that we covered it here first because of Noah. Thanks, Noah. Um, next story. This is one that dropped a couple days ago. I'm pulling from Andy Robinson at VGC. It sounds like Sony Santa Monica's next game is a God of War game, but a spinoff. So
Hmm.
we talked last week with Jake while you were out that Christopher Judge was caught on a mic at a con saying like what I'm working on is going to be shown this summer because it was like off the record and it was kind of shitty that this person published it, but they did, and so we covered it. And so we were kind of talking like, do we think that it's a God of War thing? Because there's been this rumor that it's a sci-fi new IP that Barlog is heading up. But then it's like, maybe it probably makes sense if Christopher Judge is saying that it's going to be that he's involved. It most likely would be a God of War something. Um, and it does sound like that is the case. If I believe this was Nate the Hate, but let me jump into the article. Tony Santa Monica Studio is working on a new franchise within the God of War universe, according to the LinkedIn profile of a former writer. Never mind, this wasn't from Nate the Hate. As spotted by Reset Era, the writer claims they spent 5 years up to last September helping, quote, shape narrative vision and creative direction at Sony Santa Monica Studio for a new franchise within the God of War universe, developing characters, storylines, and original lore that expanded the acclaimed IP. The post matches with claims made by Bloomberg journalist Jason Schreier, who wrote in a recent story that PlayStation at one point intended to, quote, support several God of War sequels and spinoffs, like its own smaller version of the MCU. Their last major
Mhm.
project was God of War Ragnarok, and creative director Cory Barlog, who helmed the 2018 God of War, had stepped aside for the sequel, but is understood to be working on an unannounced project. Um, so this article, I think I actually grabbed the wrong article. There was an article somewhere that was the leak
Mhm.
was that it is supposed to be a spin-off game centered around his wife Faye as a prequel, in which
Right.
you control her, the original wielder of the Leviathan axe. Uh, General thoughts about if this were to be true? Is this something that you would like or want, Cayman?
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, I don't think I would turn down any game made by Cory Barlog right now.
Sure,
I think just him alone is enough for me to be like, yeah, I'm into it. I think the idea of playing as Faye, I think is a really cool idea.
sure,
I don't necessarily know if I don't love the idea of a game that I know there's a finality to. Of like, we can't. What are we gonna do from here? Because if the game
sure.
ends with her meeting Kratos, then that's that, right? Presumably that's that. So that's like the one that hang up I have, but I think it'd be really cool. I think that there's so much lore with her character that you only like hear about through like panels and like
Yeah.
comments that are made from like other characters. So there's so much to room to work there. Um, I think that that would be fascinating. I also would love to see it be a situation where, like, maybe the way the game ends is it's like after the events of Ragnarok, and somehow she comes
Mm,
back in some regard to be like, oh, then maybe they pull some fun stuff like that. That'd be kind of cool. But like,
sure. Some
yeah, I don't know, man.
afterlife
I
drama.
think right. So I think it's cool. I actually vibe with this. I have no qualms at all. I'm excited to see what comes of this, and I hope that we do get to see something in summer.
I've boomeranged on it. At first, I was like, I was really hoping that we would get something outside of God of War from Santa Monica next because I love the God of War franchise, but I'm just like, I don't know. Do we need to keep doing God of War? Like, what else can these very, very talented people do? But then the more I've sat with it, I was like, if this is true, if we are going to have a Faye sequel, prequel, successor or whatever, I do kind of fuck with that too. And it's like I would be interested if Christopher Judge is involved as Kratos. There must be some timey-wimey stuff. Is it that this game is like flashbacky, like it's happening like before 2018's God of War, but not the whole time? Like I don't know. I'm interested to see like what that could be. Um, and what the implication of that is, right? Like, is this going to be a duology, a trilogy? You know, is this, are we just only getting God of War from Santa Monica for the rest of time? Which honestly, I think is the safe bet. It's the Vegas bet, right? To say Sony, a studio or a company rather that just keeps fucking missing lately, to say, hey,
Right.
one of our like four successful, really successful things, God of War being one of them, we need to just milk it, essentially. Uh,
I
I
mean,
wouldn't be surprised at that, honestly.
I will say I think there's might be oddly enough a silver lining I think here with the RAM shortage. I know this is like a weird curveball coming out of left field here. Um, but I think that the thing that might actually help with the RAM shortage is it might actually give engines longer to produce games. So
Sure.
like we might see a shift in the way games are produced where they're like, hey, we can't do 7 years anymore to make a new game. So
Yeah.
like we need to use the same engine, we need to do things, and so we need to be churning things out so we can start making more profit to keep this afloat, which ultimately I think benefits everyone. Um, because let's be honest, like do games I'm not saying like do games need more than 3 years development cycle? Because then we're starting to play into like crunch and things like that. But like
Sure.
I think the reason that games take 7 years on average to make now is because everyone wants they're building something new every time. And I don't necessarily think that that's necessary. It's like the whole when we were talking about like Final Fantasy 7 part 3 will have to be in the same engine
Right, right,
because
right.
there's no way they're this far in that they can change it. And it's like, okay, well maybe the reason why we should be like maybe Blue Point wouldn't have died if Blue Point wouldn't have been working on trying to build out something new if they just took an existing engine, existing character assets and things like that and worked with it, then you end up with a situation where you have like the game Forgotten World, where it was like a mod for Skyrim that gets turned into a brand new game. Like we need to still be using the same engines. There's no fucking reason that Sony should have like 7 different game engines floating around.
Sure.
One for each individual franchise is fucking insane. And that's
Yeah.
where a bulk of time is spent, is building that shit out. Get the fuck out of here.
That is interesting though, of like, okay, if a game is taking so long to make, what can we do? What levers can we pull to make that time shorter? Is it scope? Is it Yeah, I don't know. Noah saying that that's an absolute necessity. He said hard disagree with you there. Um, which I'd be interested to hear the other perspective. Because he has game development experience, so he certainly has some boots on the ground perspective here.
Okay.
But I think ultimately though, what I definitely agree with what you're saying is, how do we make the time shorter? How do we, because if nothing else, what we're seeing now is the market is deeming that long, and not the market actually, it's the fucking executives. But a game that's taking that long, its leash to success is so short. It is
Right.
about right on the body of how short that leash is. So it's like, okay, how do we loosen that leash a little bit and give them a bit more of a lead, and also release the game 3 years sooner? I don't know. It's an interesting
Sure.
quandary of like, how do we get to that point? Um, I'm sure Noah is typing right now, so we will circle back to that. But um,
Mm.
I do want to jump into something maybe a little more forward looking and a little more positive. This is something that historically you always do on episodes I'm not here, and we've decided we're going to do this at the start of each month. What is coming out this month, and what are we excited about? So, Cayman, I kick to you for the video game releases in March.
No, we're not
I
gonna
love
steal
that.
that. Let's steal that.
Actually, okay,
Okay, month
hold
of
for just a second,
March.
because
Okay.
Noah just responded. Without having to get way too technical, maybe the best parallel is, imagine Sony is telling 7 different movie directors to film 7 different movies in 7 different genres with the same set of props. That's fair. Of like,
Mm,
to
mm,
use tangible examples, have Gran Turismo built in God of War's engine. Sure, that would probably be pretty difficult. To
okay,
uber simplify it.
hear me out. Like, I'm curious to see what the development between God of War and God of War Ragnarok looks like
Yeah,
from, like, a development spec of, like, you are, in theory, still using the same models. Like, sure, there might be, like you might be going in and fine tuning and refining. I'm interested to see. I'm
yeah.
interested to see. I understand where Noah's coming from, but I also have seen developers take existing, engines and turn around and make, other things with it. Like what is it? Fuck, was it Silent Hill 2 was made on the same engine as something, I think. Like the
I just
Foxfire
learned
engine
a really
or
cool
what
one
was it?
the other
Yeah.
day, that the you remember the old, I meant to bring this up on last week's show and I forgot. And this is the perfect way
Mm,
to, the old Lord of the Rings games, Two Towers and Return of the King. Of course you remember these games. Cayman.
right.
They're built on the PGA Tour
Thank
game
you.
engine, because
Right.
essentially that game, each level is a golf course. It's like a hole of golf where you're going from point A to point B, and then you finish the level, and then they take you to the next hole of golf. How fun, how cool is that?
Incredible.
That I saw this on a
This
reel recently on Instagram.
I'm there with it. I'm there with it. I don't want to sit too long on this, Patrick. Let's keep the ball rolling.
For sure,
Noah,
for
you
sure.
can go yell at me in Discord. Everyone else, go to Discord and yell at me there too. All right, so I'm just gonna kind of skip around. If something stands out to me, I'll point it out to you. If there's something that I don't mention, call me out on it. Say, Cayman, you dumpster boy, you missed this. People should be aware of this.
Cheer.
We'll go with it. So just briefly recap the games that have actually come out so far this month. The first one is Naughty Gnomes. Um,
Ooh,
I don't know what that game is. It just has a
I
fun
don't
name.
either.
It's It just has a fun name. There's no news on it or anything. The big title that has come out, this came out today, actually, the time of recording. Legacy of Kain Defiance Remastered.
Yeah,
So we got a new Legacy of Kain. We also got Scott Pilgrim EX.
which is getting pretty good reviews.
On right on March 5th, we will be getting Marathon, which apparently is also not doing poorly. I'm very interested. I feel like this game is gonna be like really divisive in review scores,
Sure.
though. Like, there's no way it's not. And then we also have on March 5th, Planet of Lana 2, Children of the Leaf, which we'll be getting a review for, I think from our own Cognitive Clips, reporter in the
Hmm.
street. March 5th also is Pokemon Pocopia
Oh, I'm so
and
excited.
Slay the Spire 2 are all coming on March 5th. I
What a
think we're getting
day.
reviews of all of those at some point from you guys. Um, Going down, we have a game that I'm actually quite excited about on March 12th. We have Fatal Frame 2 Crimson Butterfly remake. Very excited. On March 13th, Monster Hunter Stories 3 Twisted
Mm.
Reflection. We also are getting WWE 2K26. Here's a sleeper game for you, Patrick.
Yeah.
On March 16th, Starship Troopers Ultimate Bug War,
Whoa. Do we know,
which
is Casper Van Dien going to be voicing anything in this game? Do we know?
it's a good question. It's a very good question. I swear I had to have missed one in here. Maybe I'm crazy.
So a
We'll
couple,
see.
if you don't mind me
I
jumping in.
Yeah, no,
How
please.
about Tuesday, March 10th, Ghost of Yotei Legends? How about that?
Thank you. Yeah, it's not on this list. Thank you. I'm pulling
Um,
from GameSpot, by the way.
GameSpot's
So
list, I've learned, not very strong.
not very
How
strong.
about John Carpenter's Toxic Commando on the 12th?
That's what I was about to say. It's not here either, which is bullshit because that game I'm very excited about.
Yeah,
Toxic Commando. Let's see here. MLB The Show on March 17th. Here's the thing I'm going to tell you right now, Patrick. March 19th,
yeah,
potential game of the year.
yes.
Potential game of the year. This will be probably our second potential game of the year. I would put this higher on the list of a potential game of the year than Resident Evil. Because I think there's a lot of hype around this game right now that,
For
like,
sure.
if
Yeah,
the
there
hype
is.
is real, then, like, we are in for something unique, and that is Crimson Desert.
Oh,
That
I'm
was my
so excited
number
for
2
Crimson Desert.
pick, my number 2 pick of the draft, dropping, dude, look, man, the previews are starting to come in, and people are like, "So, about this game, um, it's real.
Yeah.
It's fucking real."
Oh,
And
yeah.
so just hearing about the amount of insane bullshit you can do in this game, like, it really could be. Noah says Crimson Desert is gonna be this year's Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 Come War season. Very good chance. I
I
definitely
agree.
think this game, if it does live up to even a portion of the hype, we're looking at
I
a
think,
solid high 80s game.
yeah, I think it could crack the 90s. I think the only thing, and I'm just guessing here, but I think the only thing that could kneecap this game is performance. If it is just not up to snuff on, with it being such a big game, if there's technical elements
Right.
that are just a problem. The previews seem to say that the game ran silky smooth, but
Right.
that is my only concern, is that because, as we've said on
Well,
this show before, the game just looks too good to be true.
one of the things that I think is interesting that I was reading or watching a video on was someone that was like, most times when we get demos, it's like a vertical slice. And so you can be like, oh, well, you very much coded this to be exactly what you wanted it to be. And they're like, they just plopped us down with a timer and we're like, have fun. So,
Yeah,
like, they were playing an actual working build of the game.
that's cool.
So,
Oh
like,
yeah.
it is very interesting. So I'm excited to see how it goes. Patrick, are you excited for on March 19th also Dynasty Warriors 3 Complete Edition Remastered?
I couldn't care less, actually.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm gonna fast forward because this is, I mean, unless I'm missing something, nothing
I don't think so.
crazy coming out until March 26th, where we get Life is Strange Reunion.
I'm excited about that.
That's a huge release, and then we finish off the month on March 31st with Legacy of Kain Ascendance, which I want to say it's another remake, another remaster. Is that right? Am I crazy? I
That
don't know. I'm
sounds
not
right.
as up to snuff with my Legacy of Kain games.
Sure.
I'm glad that they're all coming out though. Like, it is
We're
fun.
also getting the Super Mario Brothers Wonder expansion, the Switch 2 expansion, whatever, Bella Bell Park or whatever.
Mm,
And then we actually today at the to dip our toes into the new spotlight a little bit, there was an indie showcase for Nintendo Switch, and blueprints came out today for the Switch 2, but then also Midnight Walk coming to the Switch 2, which is a game that a lot of people in the community really fucked with last year. So
mm,
March, a fucking packed month, and that's, I mean, we
right.
skipped, I don't know that we skipped anything of like true note, but we skipped a lot. Like when you look at
We
really everything
did,
that's coming
yeah.
out, like holy shit, March is a full month of video games.
To answer my initial question or my earlier question about Legacy of Kain, no. This is not a
Okay.
remake. This is actually a
Yeah.
brand new game in the series. It's a 2D pixel art Metroidvania by Crystal Dynamics.
Oh, weird.
Of incredibly weird. Yeah, dude, March is fucking slammed, and that's
Yeah.
the thing. And I was talking to Sid about it. Sid's going on a trip this weekend. She's leaving me at home alone, and she was like, "Well, what are you gonna do while I'm gone?" I was like, "Oh, well, I'll probably take the PlayStation down into the basement and like just post up down there for like the entire time you're gone. I'm just gonna
Yeah.
not leave my little cave, my little hole in the ground."
Ooh, yeah.
Um, and then I was
Too
like, "Oh,
bad.
this would be a
Crimson
perfect
Desert's so good.
time." I was like, "This would be a perfect time to play Resident Evil because then I could like put it on
Hmm.
surround sound and have like the full effect in like a pitch black room with just nothing but the TV, like really lean into it." And then I was like, "Yeah, but like, do I want to spend $70
Sure.
on a game right now when I am going to theoretically also want to spend an additional $70 on March 12th when Toxic Commandos comes out, and then
Mm.
also want to spend another $70 on March 19th when Crimson
Yeah.
Desert comes out, and then,
Yeah. No,
uh
for sure. I'm having a similar issue this month where like
right,
I was thinking, so I didn't like my time with Marathon, but I've also basically missed the server slam entirely. I think in fact I think it's
right.
done by now. But I was like, you know what? I want to like Marathon and I think could be fun to get into. So maybe I'll just drop the 40 on Thursday when it comes out. But then I'm reminded about Slay the Spire 2 dropping, which is going to be paid early access. Pocopia I've already pre-ordered for $70. Later this month, as you mentioned, Crimson Desert. Um, Also, Life is Strange Reunion, I really want to play. So that's just like a handful. I mean, that's already, we're above $100 easy just off of those games. So it's like, I don't think I can justify the like willy nilly picking up Marathon for $40 because there's just too much coming out that I want to play. And I'm very interested in Fatal Frame 2's remake because I've never played a
Mm,
Fatal Frame 2 game and I've always wanted to. So it's like,
mm.
I wonder
So
how many people are going to have that same issue this month because of how many games are being released.
something to say about the Fatal Frame remake, ground up remake in the Ninja engine. I think it's the Ninja engine. Ninja Theory's engine, whatever engine it is. Um, it's a ground up remake. So
Okay. Oh
it's
yeah.
supposedly is going to play significantly better and just feel significantly better. So there's that. I think it's one of those interesting conundrums we find ourselves in where it's not just a money thing,
Yeah.
it's also a time thing. Because once I spend money on something, then I
Sure.
want to put my time to it. And I was when I was talking to Sid about this, I was like, here's the truth of it is that it doesn't really matter. If I don't buy Resident Evil today, and by summer, I can
Yeah.
get that game for $40 probably.
Probably. Most likely.
You know? So
Yeah.
like, and that's just how video games work. It's obviously something like, a Nintendo Switch game is going to be different because Nintendo historically does not change prices of anything.
Yeah.
So, if you're paying $70, you're paying $70 regardless of when you're going to get it.
Sure.
Um, I think the other thing is we also have a technician coming out to look at a refrigerator tomorrow.
Ooh, yeah.
Because guess what? That bad boy is not wanting to stay temp anymore. And depending
Ugh.
on what that diagnostic result is, I might not be buying video games for a very long time. I don't know if you know this,
Yeah.
but refrigerators are incredibly expensive.
SAR expensive. When we bought our house 6 years ago now, it didn't come with a fridge. We had to buy one. and it was at the peak of the supply chain issues and COVID, and so we had to wait like
Nice.
a few months to get the fridge. And I was like, God damn, these things are fucking expensive. Um, but hey, no one's wanting to buy my house, so maybe you can just take the fridge from my house. Cayman, let's
God.
wrap up
Yeah.
today's show with some news spotlight. Um, this first one I think is very interesting. So this is I'm actually it's a bit of a thicker one. This is from Wesley Yinpool at IGN. Um, Iron Galaxy, their studio that has done all sorts of things in gaming. They did Killer Instinct most recently, I think, or that's what they're most famous for, not most recently. They had put up a tweet or a blue sky, something like that, of it said, "Today's our February company meeting. It's time to catch up what the company's been up to and what's coming up next for IG, Iron Galaxy." And they posted the Fallout iconic "Please stand by" image. And so the internet lost its fucking mind thinking that they're doing Fallout remasters or remakes or whatever. Um, but there is now been an update to the story that Iron Galaxy has taken to social media to deny the speculation that it's working on Fallout New Vegas remaster or anything Fallout related. It turns out the "Please stand by" image is one that Iron Galaxy uses all the time in its company meetings and is not indicative of any actual projects. They said, "quote Nope, nothing to see, or that there is nothing to see here. Sorry to disturb the volcanoes, but that was just a behind the scenes look at our company meeting. We use that slide every month and has nothing to do with anything Fallout being worked on. As you can imagine, we love Fallout 2. Now pardon us as we retreat back into our vaults." Oh, they did. That's right. They did Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 and 4. Um, but I don't know. What are the chances that they are working on a Fallout thing and they just didn't mean for that to be out in the public and they're trying to backtrack like anybody would, accidentally leaking their own thing?
I think knowing that they just made Fallout 3 and 4, or sorry, Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3 and 4 makes me feel like that's not the
That's a
case.
really good point. That's yeah, that's too quick
I
of a turnaround.
the
You're right.
really think so. I do feel like it's like, I think it's more likely that they wouldn't have said a fucking word if it was
Yeah,
true. They would have just been like, "We're not gonna indulge into speculation or anything like that. We're not gonna say anything.
sure.
Just fucking silence is key." So yeah, I don't believe it.
Yeah. Next up on the news spotlight, did you check out any of the Indie World Showcase today, Cayman, this morning?
I didn't. Nope. I did
There
not.
really wasn't much in it, but Drinkbox, our beloved Drinkbox, makers of Guacamelee,
Really?
Severed, and many other things, they showed a new game called Blighted. It's like a
Okay.
isometric action RPG, and it looks like Severed. Very interested to see more of Blighted, so I'm excited for that. And then Mixtape got a date of May 7th, and then I already mentioned that Blueprints got released on the Switch 2 today, so that's exciting. Coal Mine says that game looks so fucking slow. It did look slow, but sometimes slow is not a problem. That's why we love having you around. Fucking got him. Starfield PS5 release date has quote unquote been confirmed by Reliable Insider. Apparently, it's coming April 7th with pre-orders starting later this month. Do you think that you'll play Starfield on PS5? Cool, man says I'm
Uh,
blighting myself.
I I beat Starfield on the Xbox. I didn't go as far as you to uncover the big truth behind the game because I was kind of like, yeah, I'm tired.
Mm, mhm,
I
mhm,
think
mhm.
more likely I'm gonna play Avowed before I replay Starfield anytime soon. And I do fear as though that if I played both of those games, I'd be like, man, I like them way more on the PlayStation.
Yeah.
Truth is, I just like fucking hate the Xbox controller. I just
Oh,
hate the Xbox
dude.
controller. And so
At
like
some point,
everything
you
is
and I
feels
need to go
worse.
nuclear on Dido content about. I fucking hate the Xbox controller. I think it's such shit.
Awful.
It's
It's
so bad.
awful.
It feels like a toy.
It is the worst feeling everything. And because of that, every game I play using it, I feel terrible. It just doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
I'm more prone to be like, I would rather play a fucking game on the Switch.
With
I would
that
rather deal
pro
with the I
controller, I
would
fucking
rather
would.
dude, I would rather deal with just a fucking standard Joy-Con, like Boomerang Fooey with just a Joy-Con, single Joy-Con over an Xbox
Sure.
controller.
Yeah.
Awful.
Yeah, I wouldn't be playing Starfield again, but I'm interested to see if they end up releasing it on like PS Plus or something. Um,
That'd be I don't think so, but that'd be fun to
they probably
see.
won't. But maybe in like December, maybe after a while. Could be
Mm,
interesting.
mm.
Um, I was gonna bring this up earlier when you brought up Blue Point, but I was like, I'll save it for the new spotlight. There was a report that Blue Point recently closed, as we've
Mm,
talked about on Dino content. I don't know that we talked about it here. That apparently Blue Point did pitch a Bloodborne remake, and
mm.
they were rejected by From. From said, "No, we don't want anybody touching Bloodborne." So
So there
that's
was
the
an
answer we've
interesting
been searching for.
it was an interesting quote because basically it was like Blue Point came in and was like, "We wanna do a Bloodborne remake or I think a sequel or Bloodborne something." And Sony was like, "Yeah, From doesn't wanna do it." Someone I saw online was like, "Yeah, but technically Sony owns the IP of Bloodborne, not From."
Right.
So Blue Point could have Sony could have said that, and people were like, "Oh, see, it's because Sony's the bad guy here." And I'm like, I'm not gonna say Sony's not the bad guy. I think that Sony didn't do a good job of managing in this case, but I do think people need to take a moment to like recognize the fact that like From Software you don't want to have on your bad side
Correct.
because you could be like, "Hey, From could come back and be like, hey, remember that time that you did the exact opposite of what we wanted you to do?
For
Yeah,
sure.
we're not putting Elden Ring 3 on your console or
Yeah.
Elden Ring 2 on your console, some shit like that. So, like, you do have to we do have to take a moment to breathe and say, hey, unfortunately, sometimes there's more nuance in these scenarios than we like to give credit to. And I think
Yeah.
this is one of those cases.
I think, oh no, as you said, headline from earlier today, former PlayStation dev says From Software has rejected 10 plus studios that pitched a Bloodborne remake, sequel, or spinoff. So what this tells me in a roundabout way, Cayman, is that we will see Bloodborne again from FromSoft, and it will probably be a good bit down the line when they get through Elden Ring and Duskbloods and all these other things. But I think that's FromSoft saying, none of you fuckers are going to ruin Bloodborne because we will be back one day, is what I
We will
read from the
ruin it
situation.
ourselves. Hell yeah,
Exactly.
brother.
Correct. 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 We will turn
Yeah.
Bloodborne into friend slop the From Software way.
We
Um,
will put it on Nintendo Switch too.
yeah. We talked about this a lot at last week's Dido came in, but I love it's a little new spotlight tradition that I've just low key been doing that I love is just getting Cayman's 2 cents on something everyone else talked about last week. The Winds and Waves
Okay.
Gen 10 reveal. What do you think about that, Cayman?
What do I think about the Gen 10 reveal? I think that that fucking stoned lizard is gonna be so cool.
Oh,
Uh,
Gagwa to the fucking
I here's the thing, and I people can get mad at this opinion. I think that Pokemon has gotten better with every iteration. And people are gonna
huh.
disagree with that, but,
Yeah,
like, the truth is, like, Pokemon's becoming exactly what I wanted. Every game that comes out is getting a little bit closer to exactly what I wanted when I was 8 years old, and, like,
sure.
I have no issue with this. And so, just seeing that the gameplay and stuff, I'm like the only thing I really thought about was, like, why the fuck do Pokemon characters all wear full leggings and long sleeve shirts under other articles of clothing?
Correct. It's a great
Like,
question.
do people not use sunscreen in the world of Pokemon? Is this the problem here? I don't
You
understand it.
you joke, but the skin cancer rate is less than 1% in the world of Pokemon.
Oh, the Kanto region skin cancer is non-existent. Um, no, I'm not kidding when I say that I am. I know I'm excited. I think some people I've seen people be like, "Oh, it's just more Pokemon." I'm
Sure.
like, "Yeah, dude,
I'm
stop
excited
fucking
for this.
complaining. More
Yeah,
Pokemon's never a bad thing."
sure.
So, that's my
So
opinion.
true.
My thing is I'm over here, like, depending on what this fridge situation looks like, depends on whether I end up biting the bullet and getting a Nintendo Switch 2 before the price, I mean, inevitably is gonna
It's
skyrocket.
gonna go up. I meant to ask you this earlier when you were talking about deciding whether you wanted to buy Resident Evil. I was gonna ask, do you think that you'll bite the bullet sooner rather than later on the Switch 2 before it
The
goes
Switch,
higher? Then
yeah. Sid and I have had long conversations about this where I'm like, "Look, I would rather put it on a credit card and have I'd rather put it on a credit card and have it
yeah,
before we know it's gonna happen. Like, unless there's this big course correction in the next year, like, all consoles are gonna go up 100, 200, $300. Just no way they don't.
yeah.
And, like, it's just the world we live in, and right now, I think, and I might be wrong on this, but also I highly doubt I am.
I don't think you are because also like the more that especially third-party games are being released on Switch 2, the more evidence there is that so far they're all fucking working. And like
Right.
Resident Evil Requiem, as the most recent example, apparently runs swimmingly on the Switch 2. Like there's like some, apparently you can notice some quality issues when there's like a ton on screen, but for the most part, it's nearly one to one with like the base PS5. Obviously, it won't be as good as the PS5 Pro, but it's like at this point, in a way, the Switch 2 is like the best priced console on the market because also you're still getting most of the third party games, at least moving forward,
Yeah.
while also getting the Nintendo first party games. So it's like
Right.
at some point they are going to go up to like 5.99 for a Switch for sure.
Yeah. So Noah just said so they're currently selling Series X for $520, but only paying 175 for them if you trade them in. Which
Of
like,
course.
of course. But like, yeah, so no, I that's a big thing. And Sid and I have been like, she's been the person, she's the Patrick in the relationship where
Jeez.
she's always playing the devil. And I'm like over here being like, yes, but we also need to be responsible adults and have money in our savings account. Because if the world does catch on fire, then like we really don't want to be in that position where
Then you'll have your
we're
Switch 2 to comfort your sleep at night when you can't afford
right. Then I'll be sitting
anything
there like
else.
I fucking bought a Switch 2 and now I'm over here about to lose my house. We
Yeah.
like don't want to do that. So
Noah says
Kayla, shut
Cayman being
the
the
fuck
adult is fucking crazy to me. But the truth is, I've known Cayman for a long time. He is the adult.
that is one thing you'll learn. Like I play up the asshole like so much and like play like I'm just some crazy fool. I'm like incredibly fiscally responsible. The problem is that the world around me isn't. So you
Yeah,
have situations like, oh fuck, like thousands of dollars of hospital bills that are like stacked up and shit like that, that you just can't
yeah.
control. But
Sure.
I try to
Hey,
control it. I don't sleep at night because of it.
dang.
So, and now I do because I've got sleep headphones, which that's
Hey,
why you should
brought
come
to
and
you
join
by.
before we go live. You should come enjoy the pre-show because you'll hear fun stories like that that you don't know any
So true.
context to. You have no context to this.
You have no context, and you never will unless you go to the VOD before it goes away in 7 days. Couple more before we go. Guitar Hero Studio Red Octane is returning with a spiritual successor called Stage Tour. Cayman, have you heard about this? Have you seen this?
I have cool, love it. How much do the peripherals cost,
Probably so much
or
more than
are
they
there?
should. Yeah. This is the kind of thing where it's like, oh, nice. I hope that this is successful. I don't see a world in which it is because we already have Clone Hero and all these other things that are filling the market's need for a Guitar Hero. But I hope that it works out for them because it has been a long time since we've had some good music rhythm games with peripherals. Um, EA Skate Studio confirms layoffs to quote better support the game's long-term future. TLDR, Skate will be dead within 6 months, which is very sad. Um, a new segment I'm creating right now in the news spotlight, a Metacritic minute, except it'll be less than a
Oh, I
minute.
like that. I like
As of
that.
right now, Resident Evil Requiem, the highest rated game of all time with regards to user score on Metacritic. It surpassed Expedition 33 and something else I forget but it is up there as one of the highest or the highest rated game of all time as of
What
polling that story.
what is it beating out? What did it just beat?
Um,
What game did it just beat, Patrick?
I know Expedition 33 was one of them, but there was more than that, but I don't remember what else.
Yeah, you're missing what used to be the greatest game of all time, according to users. Corey in the house.
That's right. That's right. I saw
The
you post
sun's
this on the
heating up.
fucking.
This sun heating up in this court.
That's
Corey,
so
you
funny.
a buster.
That's so funny.
Classic
Uh,
line.
and then
Classic
Pokopia,
line.
the highest rated Pokemon game ever so far.
How
Um,
excited are you for Pokopia?
Bro, I'm like, I was talking about this somewhere, not on Dino. It might have been the Resident Evil Requiem stream on Sunday, perhaps, where it's like, I'm so excited for Pokopia, but I'm also kind of scared because I really do not fuck with Minecraft in any way, shape, or form. And I know that it's like people are saying it's like a Minecraft meets Animal Crossing New Horizon meets Dragon Quest Builders. And so it's like, I'm hoping that the Pokemon of it all outweighs the Minecraft that I've never enjoyed. And I think it will, but I'm very, very fucking excited that the hype turned out to be real on this game, and I can't wait to jump in on Thursday.
Who picked it up
Um,
on Fantasy? Was it Kayla?
Josh did. That fell to the 3rd
Josh.
round for Josh, yeah.
Damn, okay.
Yeah.
Hell yeah,
I
good
think
for him.
I was
Solid pick.
afraid that it would just be like a low 80s, so I was waiting for, like, maybe a round 5 pickup,
Hmm.
but egg on my face, that's got, like, an 89 right now.
Truthfully, I didn't even know it existed until, like, 2 weeks ago.
Really? Wow, okay.
I was so out of the loop on this game.
Well,
So
I mean, someone without a Switch too, I understand why.
right, yeah,
'Cause
yeah,
it's an
that's actually
exclusive.
fair.
Yeah. And then Capcom, speaking of Capcom with Resident Evil Requiem, they're going to have a spotlight presentation on Thursday to talk about a few of their franchises and upcoming games, most notably Mega Man, Pragmata, and more. So Capcom spotlights tend to kind of suck in general, but I think this will be the second look at that new Mega Man game that they showed off a few months ago, or maybe that was at Summer Game or the Game Awards, I think. So
Yeah.
I bet some folks will be excited about that. And that's our show, Cayman. That brings us to the
Well,
end of Spotlight Games.
fuck you, Kojima. So
Yeah,
that's really all I gotta say.
that's really all we got to say. Noah, speaking truth, Capcom Spotlights always suck, but they're putting out non-stop bangers. It's crazy. It is crazy.
It's true.
But
Patrick, I
W
just say,
Capcom,
I just can we end on a positive note here?
of course.
I just want to say, guys, if you were just if you joined late, go to Steam right now. Download the demo of Everything is Crab.
Yeah, for sure.
Go play Everything is Crab, then come back and tell me how correct I was.
So true.
I'm waiting for your confirmation of how smart I am.
I love it. Well, folks, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. As I said at the top of the show, hope to see you later this week over on Drop In, Drop Out when we talk about Pokopia and all the other games that are coming out this week. And then also tomorrow night on JK Games and potentially also Dido, Kayla mentioned in the chat, The Legends of Komori, the Hidalgo, like the horse game is happening over on JK Games Podcast's Twitch. But in the meantime, let's go say hi to Cameron, the Friendship Design, who is playing Resident Evil Requiem. And when we get there, say, fuck you for streaming during Spotlight Games, you fucking traitor. That's what I want everyone to say in the chat when we rate him.
As we were
But
giving
we will
him,
see
we were
you.
talking him up.
Yeah,
We were
yeah,
talking
yeah.
him
We
up
will.
earlier too. Fuck
Yeah,
this
well, fuck
guy.
him. We will see you next time. Have a good night. Bye bye. Where's the button? Where's the button? Where's the button?